Hey everybody, we're going to start here in just a few seconds. I'm just trying to pull up the live chat and everything so we can all talk to each other. So give me just a second here. Just a second. Hopefully everybody's having a good day. I'm starting a little early tonight, but if you noticed, I haven't been on in the last few days. It's because I've been battling a very severe sinus infection. So today's really the first day that I've had my voice back, and I'm still kind of gravelly and whatnot. So if you hear me mute the mic, it's probably because I'm either sneezing or coughing or doing something. So, but I'm feeling a lot better, a lot better. So hold on here. I'm just putting in the chat. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. If you can hear me, give me a thumbs up in the chat. So I figured I'd jump on here. There's a lot of cool stuff about the new next generation Jeep Compass that's coming out. And it actually has come, a lot of news has come out this week about it. So I figured, hey, we'll talk about it for a few minutes on here. I'm just waiting for everybody to kind of jump in and let's see here. Just share it to the Mopar Insiders page, and I'll be done, and then we'll start talking. Give me just a second. All right. So, just posted that. So hopefully we'll be getting quite a few people coming back in to join us. So, anyways, yeah, I've had a severe sinus infection. I haven't had a lot of voice left to do any videos and stuff. But there's a lot of stuff I'm working on. I just got done with having the Ram 1500 RHO for the past week. It was very interesting. It was the first time I ever got to drive the Hurricane High Output in the Ram 1500, and I was very impressed with it. So I have a video about that. Hopefully, I got to edit it and get it done. I'm hoping to have it done by this weekend. I did a 100-mile loop with that and stop and go traffic, highway, all that, like a very, very thorough 100-mile loop. And I got some pretty interesting MPG ratings out of that, some results out of that. So hopefully that'll be a very good video, and I'm hoping to get it done and have it posted on Mopar Insiders probably either on Saturday or Sunday. So, and then I have the last video, my overall impressions of the truck already done. So, but that's going to be a very interesting couple of videos. And then I got a whole bunch of other stuff I'm working on too. So it's not like I haven't been busy. I've been feeling terrible the last couple days. So I've been sleeping and doing whatever I can. Let's see here. Sean, need a second product at Belvedere Assembly and Warren Truck Assembly. So I've already wrote up an article for Mopar Insiders. I might post it tomorrow. I'm still waiting on some people to verify some stuff. It sounds like there's going to be some interesting things going on in the near future with production capacity. So hopefully, if I can get it verified, I'll post it on Mopar Insiders. but it sounds like there's going to be a lot of changes coming very soon. So, and it's all positive stuff. So, I matter of fact, I've talked to a lot of people that were involved with Antonio Filosa's town hall meeting yesterday. They had a huge town hall meeting for everybody that works in the company, and there's been a lot of positive notes about it. He talked about the Hemi returning to the Ram pickup, like we announced on Mopar Insiders. He, basically said, hey, we're going to be building product that people want to buy again. So everybody says it's kind of back to how it was, at least what it sounds like when Sergio Marchionne was around. So hopefully they can keep that momentum going forward with, whoever the new CEO is. So, Grant's on here. Is the Chrysler brand about to be sold to BYD China? No. Chrysler they have no plans to sell the Chrysler brand or Maserati. I've heard that from like a bunch of people. Frank B. Rhodes called me today. The great grandson of Walter P. Chrysler, who's a good buddy of mine. He called me and he was like, "Is that true?" I'm like, "No, they're not going to sell Chrysler. Chrysler sold tons of vehicles this past year. Even if they're just selling minivans, they're not going to sell Chrysler. There's no way, and that wouldn't happen." Trump wouldn't allow them to sell it to the Chinese. There's no way. Let's see here. Thank you. I promise that I will buy a Warren Truck Assembly Plant built Ram Power Wagon. Well, I wouldn't say that. I don't know. I don't know what products would be switched around in that, but it sounds like they're in talks about several things going forward to kind of maximize American production, and it's not based on the tariffs. It's based on, I guess, there's a lot of reasons why Trump's really pushing for American, built vehicles. But the problem is if you look at what they sell right now in North America, 40% of the cars that Stellantis sells here in the U.S. are built outside the U.S. And that's very high compared to General Motors and Ford. So they had a huge talk last night. If you went on Mopar Insiders this morning, there was a huge talk between the White House last night. Mary Barra was on the call, Jim Farley and Bill Ford and John Elkin. And Trump talked to them and basically said, they asked him, hey, by putting the tariffs on us, you're going to make us the Detroit, the big three. You're going to penalize us, and we're not going to be as competitive as, like Honda and all that build cars here. And, they kind of gave him grief about his original, USMCA kind of agreement. And he basically acknowledged it, and he said, hey, I'm going to give you, 1 month of not having anything against you guys for the automotive market. And basically, it has nothing to do with the automotive industry. Everybody's been complaining. It's all about politics. The problem is I don't want to get into a huge politic thing, but Trump has already gave Canada and Mexico what they need to do to, combat these tariffs. Basically the tariffs are in place to stop the fentanyl crisis and the cartels in Mexico. The cartels in Mexico run a lot of the Mexican, the northern Mexican landscape. And, in Canada, they have a huge problem with fentanyl because there's been loopholes where they can send the chemicals to, the different products to make fentanyl to Canada, and then they've been manufacturing it there. So they could easily, solve these issues and they wouldn't have that problem. But I don't know. It's just a politic game. So I doubt it's going to go forward for long. I honestly, I don't think the tariffs are going to go on that long. Once we go through about a month of them, I guarantee they'll be done. Will Dodge take the Chrysler Airflow and make a Magnum or Journey? No, because the Airflow what was to be the Airflow is called the Chrysler C6X now. It was that's going to be a crossover, and that should be coming out. Oh, well, we haven't heard. It's been the program has been paused since January. And the reason why is I think they're reevaluating powertrain strategy. So hopefully we'll hear soon, because I'm making a very good guess on this. I mean, this is based on what I know and from what I've heard. I seriously think that they're going to come out and say that Chrysler, even though it's its 100th anniversary, they really haven't, said anything about it. I think they're going to say that they're not going to be an all-electric brand like they had originally planned. They said that with Alfa Romeo and Maserati recently. I think Chrysler's going to be the last one to, jump the all-electric ship. And I think they're going to probably make that into a hybrid vehicle. So I wonder what happens to the two Kokomo battery plants. We've already seen that they're not going to produce the battery plant at Belvedere. They already said about the battery plant, the second battery plant in Windsor. So who knows? The problem is electric vehicles are too expensive. The push for electric vehicles came way too fast. The Trump administration has already said that they're going to keep investing in, an electrical infrastructure. So electric vehicles aren't going to be done with. It's just, people can't afford them. I'm sorry. It's how it is. Even if you look at the new Wagoneer S, right? Wagoneer S launch edition is $71,995 in the US. $72,000 is a lot for a car for most people. And then on top of it, if you don't have the, a charging system at your house, that's a couple extra grand to, set that up and that. It's way too much for people. So I predict, probably in a couple years, probably 10 years, maybe then with a huge advancement in, the actual charging infrastructure, maybe electric vehicles can be on par with gasoline-powered vehicles. But until then, it's not going to happen. Battery technology is going to be way more advanced in 10 years than what we have now. It's simple. That's what's going to happen. They should have just rolled this program up, really slow and kind of got people to buy into it. But instead, it was hey, we're going to throw everything at everybody at once. So, and that's what we're going to talk about too. We're going to talk about the new Compass. What time is the reveal? Hope you feel better. Oh, thanks. So here's the interesting about this new Jeep Compass, okay? So basically, since 2017, the Jeep Compass has been probably the most important global vehicle for the Jeep brand. Okay, it's by far the most sold global vehicle that Jeep has. So if you look at the actual Jeep Compass's lifespan, you kind of look back at 2007 and you might remember that really ugly looking Jeep Compass that we got. My wife actually owned one when I met her. That kind of had the Jeep Wrangler bug-eyed look to it up front, and then it had kind of this weird hodgepodge kind of side styling. I don't know. It was just kind of weird. Back in 2011 when Fiat took over, Sergio Marchionne wanted to fix that vehicle, and they decided to kind of difference it from the Patriot, which kind of had that traditional boxy look, and they ended up giving it the Jeep Grand Cherokee front end. And at that point, the Compass was kind of known as the baby Grand Cherokee. Sales for the Compass took off after that point. Then if you look at the current Jeep Compass, this is the Compass that we have now. This is a 2022 model that we did a review on. If you look, obviously it looks more like the last generation Jeep Grand Cherokee, kind of like the baby Grand Cherokee look. And, it's handsome in that. So I would say, back in October, I think it was October. Jeep actually sent us this sketch, and this is basically an image of what the next Compass is going to look like. So if you look at the front end, it looks a lot like at least from the sketch, it looks a lot like the JL, the Grand Cherokee, the current one. that headlight design. If you look, it's more boxy, kind of looks a lot like a Grand Cherokee. Again, following that baby Grand Cherokee formula. However, these new images that we got on Monday look totally different, like totally different. So if you look at this, this is obviously the European model. This is going to be make its debut next month. I can't remember the date, but they're going to have a whole live stream unveiling online. The only thing is, I think it's going to be like really early in the morning here. So, I mean, they're really pushing, you know, for it to be successful in Europe. But if you look at this, like this new image of the front end, the first thing you're going to notice is, yeah, it's got a 7-slot grill, but they're not slots. They're just kind of like panels. And then there's lights above it. And it kind of follows in suit with the new Wagoneer S. So if you look at the Wagoneer S, it's got like this grill design that kind of simulates a 7-slot grill, but it's not functional. And they light it up. And that's what they're doing here. So if you look at the European market, the next Jeep Compass there, the J4U is what they codenamed it, it's going to have basically an all-electric lineup. So it's not going to be all electric, it's going to be electrified, all electrified lineup. So they're going to have an e-hybrid, so basically a mild hybrid vehicle. They're going to have a plug-in hybrid, which we're told this time, instead of being like the 4xe model, it's going to be a front-wheel drive model. And then we're told that if you want 4-wheel drive, you're probably going to have to step up to an all-battery electric model. So what we're looking at here is more than likely the 4xe, which is the all-electric model. So we're not going to see like a functional grille or anything like that. But if you look at that brow of it, and if you look at the headlight design, what do you kind of see? If you look, it looks a lot like it pulls a lot of styling from the Recon, which makes sense because in Europe, Jeep Europe recently announced that the Grand Cherokee is gone. Okay, they're not going to sell the Grand Cherokee in 2025 in Europe. It just hasn't done good. The reason why is it's a bigger vehicle with the actual import taxes and stuff. They've announced that they're going to replace it with the Wagoneer S. Wagoneer S is a D segment vehicle instead of an E segment vehicle that the Grand Cherokee is. Another thing they've announced is they're going to discontinue the Wrangler in Europe. Now the Wrangler has never sold like in huge volumes over there. It's always been kind of, you know, that expensive lifestyle vehicle. And what they're going to do is replace that with this, the Recon. So if you want that, you know, open air freedom kind of driving experience, this D segment Recon will fulfill that. At least that's what they're saying for the European market. So with that being said, it makes sense that the Compass, which is going to be a global vehicle, is going to be more or less styled after, well, at least have key elements of the Recon in it. So, yeah, it's going to look very Recon-like for some reason. I mean, it's going to be different. It's not going to be that baby Grand Cherokee look that we are used to. Now this image here, this doesn't tell us anything, but this is from Melfi, the Melfi Italy plant. This is the Stella medium platform, and they just kind of blurred everything out in the background. But they're actually producing these vehicles now on the line. So, I mean, they haven't started job 1 yet, but these are, you know, pre-production, making sure that everything's going to go, you know, before they actually start production. But nonetheless, this is what the actual chassis looks like. And then they gave us one other teaser shot, and it was this. Now, this is kind of a weird shot because it's a 3/4 shot, and it kind of looks like a lot of people are like, what the heck is this? This is the taillight, obviously. It says Jeep Performance LED. But this is the back part here. This is the back part. This is the side of the taillight. Now, if you think about the current Compass taillights, let's go back over here, because the current Compass taillights, right? They wrap around in that. But these ones are going to be totally different. If you look at the design in here, they have these LED, like angular bars. The Recon has those too. Kind of has those angular bars in it. But if you go to what they have been experimenting with, the new Avenger, it's kind of got the same kind of look to it. But it's going to look a lot different than anything that we've seen from Jeep in a while. So you might notice like the Avenger here, it still has that current generation Jeep styling that's been around since what, 2017 when we started, or actually it's been around even longer than that, because we started seeing that kind of stuff with the Cherokee, I think in 2014, was this shark fin design. Everything that Jeep builds that's not a Wrangler and that has this shark fin. See, you can see the shark fin there. There's the shark fin. That stuff looks like it's going to be gone. That design element's going to be gone. Instead, we're going to get this more boxy looking. Hold on a second here. We're going to get this more boxy looking Jeep. So that's going to be kind of beneficial for those who like the more traditional Jeep look. But you can see right here on the back of this vehicle that the LEDs will kind of, peek out around the corners. So, and it's interesting that they're showing us these styling, teasers. These are probably going to be the only exterior ones we're going to see. Maybe we get a wheel design or something like that. I think we're going to get another set probably next week, probably of the interior. Probably get like something like a shifter knob or something. Maybe like a four-wheel drive shifter, or maybe a seat design or something like that. So, I mean, it's only a month away. I think they're going to keep giving us stuff, but they're not going to give, obviously, the full vehicle away. So, nonetheless, it's going to be a very different global Jeep. Now, keep in mind, again, global Jeep, it's going to be released in Europe first. And then we're hearing that it's going to make its debut in South America. And then it will eventually come to North America. It's awesome. Like, the current Jeep is produced in several markets. It was produced in China. That doesn't look like it's going to happen with this model. They might import them to China, but Jeep has kind of really pushed away from the whole China market thing. They just weren't as competitive as what they hoped. They built specific models like the Grand Commander to really try to push against the Jeep market, but it wasn't as successful as what they had thought. And they really would need a partner there that they could, really push forward in production because of all the tax, the import tax stuff, because you got to produce there. The only thing is now they have Leapmotor, so their partnership with Leapmotor would kind of like, I don't know, kind of throw it, kind of a curveball in their whole lineup, because they don't have anybody to produce anything in China. They just don't. GAC they don't have an alliance with GAC anymore to produce Jeep there, so who knows? I don't see Jeep really pushing like back into China full bore. It's just Stellantis has really tried to push China, and it just has never been successful there. So I don't know. A lot of people have asked about that. I don't see it happening. Another thing is India. India has, Jeep India has already said that they will not get the new Compass. The reason being is that because of the electrified models like the e-hybrid and plug-in and all that stuff, they simply can't afford it. So what they're going to do is they're going to continue in India. They're going to build the current Compass like they're doing now for a couple more years. And it's basically going to just be a turbo diesel, just like it is now. Very bare bones, 6-speed manual, I think. But they're going to continue building it there. And so if you want one of those Jeep Compasses that, that's what you're going to have to buy. Excuse me for a second. Sorry. I didn't want to hack into the microphone. So yeah, it's going to be a global product, but it's not going to be probably pushed into China. It'll probably be, if it is, it's going to be imported probably in low numbers. And it won't be for sure sold in India. Now, for North America, it's going to get kind of different. So originally the plans for North America was that it's going to be built at Brampton, which used to build the Charger, Challenger, and 300. But the very interesting part about that is originally the plans were that it would start production in the first quarter of 2026. So according to what we've been hearing lately, they put a pause on development of it. And the reason why is Stellantis, ever since Carlos Tavares has been booted out, they're really focusing on building product that people want to buy. So with Tavares being gone, this whole push for BEVs and stuff, which really hasn't been working in North America, they've just decided, hey, we're going to refocus on what people want to buy. So they are going to extend the downtime from what we're hearing from multiple sources by 6 months at Brampton. So they originally announced that they were going to pause it to relook at the development of powertrain strategy for the vehicle. But it sounds like gas-powered Jeeps are given the go-ahead. So while the European market will be launched with an all-electrified lineup, we will be getting gas-powered models right from the bat. So that includes four-wheel drive and front-wheel drive models. Okay, so our models are going to be a lot different than the European models. We are still going to have a BEV, more than likely. But the BEV has been kind of pushed back. Okay, so we don't know what engine's going to be in it. Have no clue. We don't know if it's going to be a hybrid. We don't know if it's going to be, just a conventional ICE. I mean, it would make sense to continue like the 2-liter, GME T4 engine in it. I think that would be a smart idea. It'll be very interesting. I seriously believe that, the current Compass Sport 4x4 is the cheapest vehicle that Stellantis produces in North America right now. And, while that model doesn't have a lot of options, I think that they would be smart to offer both front-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. This whole Jeep being standard four-wheel drive thing just doesn't make sense in my opinion. There's a lot of people who bought front-wheel drive Jeeps. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people who bought them. And not every region needs four-wheel drive. If you live in Texas and you don't go off-road and you're one of those, urban dweller people, yeah, it makes sense to save a couple grand and buy the front-wheel drive model. If you live in Florida, yeah, you don't necessarily need four-wheel drive. Here in Michigan, yeah, it makes sense. But give people the option to at least cut off a few grand of the price and make it even more competitive against other vehicles. So I would love to see them do that. But as far as we know, we're hearing that hold on here. Let's see. Why isn't this working now? Oh, come on. I don't know why it's acting all goofy. Anyways, hold on here. I don't know why my thing's not opening up. But anyways, what I wrote for this afternoon on Mopar Insiders is that production's been pushed back for 6 months. So we are going to get a new Jeep Compass for sure in Q3 of 2026. So there will be a period of time where we won't have a C-segment vehicle. That's been one of the problems that Stellantis has been facing, is when they drop a vehicle, they don't have a replacement, right then and there to replace that vehicle. And it sounds like the Compass is going to be it. And considering the C-segment is pretty, competitive, it'll be very interesting to see how they go about, trying to, basically keep people in vehicles in the C-segment for Jeep. So, I mean, it's just going to be interesting. I don't know what they're going to do. 6 months is a long time, especially when you have the Compass, which is one of their better selling vehicles. They might even decide to continue production longer at Toluca to build Compasses. They might just build some, leftover ones and hope that they can just hold, their spot on the lots until the new one comes out. So who knows? But it sounds like we're going to have to wait 6 more months. But at least we'll have gas-powered ones. We won't have to deal with the all-electric stuff at first. Those will eventually come, but again, it sounds like everything is more focused on the gas-powered vehicles for North America. So let me see what everybody's saying here. Let's see here. What Stellantis needs is either move the global headquarters. Stellantis needs to focus. So here's the interesting thing, Grant. Antonio Filosa like basically said, he's refocused the whole North American market. And it sounds, at least from what I heard what people said from the town hall and all that yesterday, it sounds like, that's what they're going to do. It sounds like everybody says it's like FCA back 10 years ago. Oh, sorry. But anyways, everybody's saying that it's like the whole town hall kind of uplifted everybody. So it'll be very interesting to see how they go forward. But it sounds like they're going back to basics and what made FCA very very successful. Like North America will be doing its own stuff, Europe will be doing its own stuff. So it sounds like they're already doing that. Will the European Jeep EVs get the new semi-solid state batteries going into the Charger in 2026? So honestly, I do not know. They haven't released anything about batteries or anything about the powertrain. So I'm pretty sure we'll find out next month. As for the Charger, I got some news today about the Dodge Charger Daytona. Originally we had heard that it was going to be 3 months down. Now we're hearing that it's going to be less. And one of the reasons why the new battery trays were being put in too was there was an issue with the old battery trays having problems. So these new battery trays are not going to be just for semi-solid state batteries, but they're going to be also for the current battery packs as well, because they've had major issues with the battery packs in these cars. So, like the actual trays in them, they've had them stripping stuff out of them. So, yeah, there's a lot of issues going on with the Dodge Charger Daytona. The good news is I can tell you that the Dodge Charger 6-pack, from what I've heard from various sources, including some of my good friends that work at Windsor, is the car is doing tremendously well, the 6-pack. So stay tuned for some news on that. There's going to be some very good stuff coming probably, I would say this weekend from Mopar Insiders about the Charger. So, yeah, we're going to see a Charger 6-pack very soon. It's going to be I'm very excited. After driving that Hurricane, that Ram RHO with the high output, I'm going to tell you guys, I don't want to spoil the videos and stuff, but I was really impressed with the Hurricane engine. Yeah, it doesn't sound that great. I don't know how to explain what it sounds like. It kind of reminds me of, do you remember how everybody said the Viper V10 sounds like a postal truck? It kind of reminds me of that. It doesn't sound that good. I mean, compared to the Hemi. But I'll tell you what, once that thing builds boost, it's kind of slow to get off the start. But once it hits about 1,000 RPM, man, it picks up and goes. I swear, if it's got enough power, it's got plenty of balls. If that Hurricane, if you put that RHO up against my 300C that I had, that 6.4 392 300C, I guarantee that heavier truck would stomp the hell out of my 300C. So, I mean, that truck got up and went. And I was really impressed with the overall performance of it. Yeah, it's very quiet. The weird thing is when you're outside the vehicle, you hear this. It sounds like a diesel. It's weird because it sounds like a diesel engine because it's got direct injection, and it's very loud. And when you get in the car, when I got in the truck, here's the funny part. That RHO, if you put, I've driven the TRX before. You get in the TRX, it feels the same. The truck obviously feels the same. It drives kind of the same in that. In the TRX, you got that Hemi roar. It's very fun, and gas mileage obviously sucks because you're on it all the time because it sounds so good. But the RHO is more of the daily driver vehicle. Like I would have been if I had to have. I don't want to give the video away. If I had to have one, I would pick the RHO because overall, for day-to-day use, it made a lot more sense. Like it was so comfortable to drive. The inline six is so smooth, just so smooth. One thing is like every Hemi I've had, every single Hemi, when you're at idle, like say for example you're in a drive-through like at Taco Bell or something, and you got your foot on the brake, the Hemi always has like this sputtering problem. It's like doesn't matter if I've owned two Durangos, I've owned two Chargers, I've owned the Ram 1500 with them. I've had numerous 5.7 Hemis. The 5.7 always has this like vibration issue. It always feels like it's sputtering once in a while. And you don't get that with the inline six. The inline six is just smooth. Once the power comes on, it's there. So there's a lot of freaking potential with the Hurricane. I don't think people are giving it enough credit. I mean, this engine was in development for a long time to replace the 5.7 and 6.4. Is it a replacement for the Hellcat? No, it is not a replacement for a Hellcat. Is there the potential that Stellantis could be, refocusing and building a next generation V8? Yeah, definitely. But I think people need to realize, like, there's a place for the Hurricane engine. I think once people start seeing these in the Charger and start seeing how fast these things are, people are going to flip because, I mean, that HO is super fast. The only thing I don't like is, to get the 540 horsepower, you put premium in. And the RHO has a 34-gallon tank, so no matter what, fuel prices are kind of high still. I think just to top it off was like $56. I mean, you're still spending a lot of money on fuel. But, I mean, it's a fraction of the price compared to the Hellcat. Yeah, it's not as, it doesn't sound as good. But you get inside and it's quiet. Compared to, obviously, it doesn't have like the drone like a Hemi does. Super quiet. It's super smooth. I mean, I was just super impressed with it. And I'm trying to look outside the box because I'm a V8 guy. Obviously, I told you how many 5.7s I owned. I owned, a 392. I love my V8s. But I would just say that Hurricane engine is just... It's different. I mean, everybody loved the old AMC the 4-liter inline sixes. And I think that after a while, now that they're getting these Hurricanes dialed in and, past the thermostat issues and like the same kind of crap that every kind of engine has after it comes out, with different problems. I think once they get it dialed in, I think it'll be fine. But I'm very impressed with the power output, performance-wise. There was a couple issues I had with just, again, the sound. It sounds like a buzzsaw. But other than that, I would really like to see them add some kind of electronic, I don't know, like a kind of like electronic helping device to kind of build boost off the, right off of 0 RPM, because or not 0 RPM, but like idle. The reason why is because there's major boost lag from, 250 RPM to about 1200 RPM. And then again, as soon as the boost kicks in, it takes off. That high output model has 28 pounds of boost, and it goes. And it's funny because when you figure how heavy that truck is. I put my foot right to the floor on it, and it was pulling, and you could feel it pulling still as it was picking up speed. So I was super impressed with it. So, do you ever think they would make a Magnum wagon off the Charger hatchback? I don't know if they would. Here's the thing. Like, I've always loved wagons. I always thought the Magnum was cool. The problem is people don't buy them. Everybody likes them, but nobody buys them. So that's the issue. If you look at what the Magnum did in sales, it was never a huge seller, and that's the problem. Look at the CTS. The CTS, they had the CTS, wagon. Everybody loved that car. Rear-wheel drive, they had the CTS V wagon, which is really rare, and that one brings in buco bucks if you have one, especially with a 6-speed manual. And nobody bought them. It's just wagons. I don't know why people don't like wagons. I like wagons. I think they're cool, but a lot of people don't. Let's see here. With the lease deals on the Daytona, I've been considering one, but worrying about the issues. The leasing deals are pretty good, depending on where you're at. The regions all have different kind of leasing prices. Like here in Detroit, if you're a Chrysler employee, you can get one you still have to put like $3,800 down, but you can get one for like $300 and I think it's like $29 a month. So, yeah, I mean, the leasing deals are good. The car, my honest opinion about the Dodge Charger Daytona, I've driven the Scat Pack. I have yet to drive the RT. I love the car. I think the car, design-wise, is really nice. There's some flaws with the car, meaning some things I don't like about the design. Mainly, I hate the fact that they got rid of physical buttons and they put haptic buttons in the car. And I hate the fact that it doesn't have an actual sunroof in the car. But the car itself I love. The powertrain wise, the electric powertrain, yeah, it's fine. I mean, it's not the fastest. That's kind of disappointing. If it was Tesla fast, I don't think anybody would have a problem with it. My honest to God's opinion is that if I were you looking for a lease on a Charger Daytona, I would wait a couple more months. Mainly because 2025 is going to be a short model year, and they're going to start with 2026s very soon. So you're going to have 2024, 2025, and 2026s all sitting on the lot together. And there's going to be massive incentives on 2024s to get rid of them. And there's going to be massive incentives on 2025s to get rid of them. So if I were you, I would wait probably about 2 months to get the best deal possible. I know it sounds stupid, but it's a dilemma that I know they're looking at because of the very short model year. But yeah. As if you're just if you really don't care and you really want to have a fun time with it, I say go for it. But if you're looking for the best deal possible, I would wait 2 months, because we know that the 2026 models are going to start at least in June, and Dodge is flipping out already because they released those 2024 cars so late, and now we've already seen really good deals on the 2024 cars. 2025 production is going to end. I can't remember if it ended already or if it's going to end this week, because they're putting the new battery trays in. And then they're going to have, 2025 is going to be a short model year. So you might want to keep that in mind. I mean, the 2025 model year, it's the same exact car as 2024. There's no changes. So if you really don't care about, how can I say it? If you really don't care about just the number, it's a 2024 or 2025, if you don't care, go for a 2024 if you can find one. They all have the same updates and whatnot. It's just, you can get a better deal on 2024. So, the problem with the Hurricane i6 is it generates so much heat, the two turbos, that it melts the catalytic converter. And now I've heard that. I've also heard that some of them have poured fuel into the catalytic converter. So, yeah, it is a high-strung little engine. I think the longer that they'll have this thing out, they'll dial it in better. I just know that the performance of this thing, I was really impressed. It doesn't feel like you're driving a little 3-liter engine. It doesn't at all. It's kind of a unique beast. The funny thing is a lot of people don't understand, like, they're complaining about this engine. A lot of the people who developed this motor worked on the Viper V10 program. Almost everybody that was in part of the SRT engineering group that worked on the Viper V10 has been working on the GME T6 program for a long, long time. So, but I think once they dial it in, I mean, it's been out since what, 2023. So I mean, it's going in its almost third year of production. I don't know. I think a couple more years when they get everything, all the issues ironed out and all that, I think it'll be a pretty solid bulletproof engine. I've always been one of those people. I really like, bigger displacement V8s. A lot of people will hate me for saying this, but my favorite Chrysler V8 is not a Hemi. It's the 4.7 liter Magnum V8, or the PowerTech V8, the 287 cubic inch one. I had a lot of success, and I've owned 2 of them, and everybody I know says, oh yeah, those engines are junk. I never had an issue with mine. I changed the oil religiously in mine. I mean, everybody said, oh, they burn oil. Never had an issue. Wasn't the highest horsepower engine, but constantly proven to be the most reliable engine I've ever owned. And I've put tons of miles on those engines. I had my first Durango I owned was a 2000 Dodge Durango SLT 4x4, a 4-screen one. I absolutely love that car. I had it for like 12 years, and I put over 100,000 miles on that thing, and I let it sit for like, I don't know, a year without touching it. Went and put a new battery in it, and fired right up. No problem. Nothing. The other one I had was an 03 Durango SLT Plus 4x4. And that motor is still a solid motor. My dad actually owns that one now. The sad thing is, it's just because it sits so much, it went from it being almost like no rust at all. Now it's got basically a lot of rust. The rockers are rotting on it. They're falling right off the thing. But the powertrain wise, I mean, that 4.7 has always been bulletproof in my opinion. I always loved that engine. So I mean, that thing had a little bit of a tick to it, but nothing bad. I've always loved that engine. So, let's see here. Just looking, but nonetheless, I mean, there's a lot of different people that just won't give the Hurricane any kind of love whatsoever. And I'm not saying it's the greatest engine. I mean, again, I've always been one of those people that are, displacement or larger displacement engines. I just think, like, to me, I would rather have a bigger displacement engine to like tow with. But after reading what people have said about the Hurricane and stuff and what they've been able to do with it, I mean, it's shown that it could do a lot of really neat things with what it's capable of. So anyways, let's see here. I don't know. I think I'm going to get off of here. I just wanted to come on and talk for a few minutes. I'm still not feeling that great, but anybody else have any questions? Because I think I'm going to call it a night for right now. So if not, I appreciate everybody. What did Sean say? Is the SRT gang coming back? Oh, I will tell you something very interesting too that I learned. So LX Springfest is coming back. If you are a Charger, Challenger, 300 or Magnum fan, you guys might know of LX Springfest. It was a huge event. John Fraterno put it on, out in California for a number of years. And then COVID happened and it was, postponed, and then it just never picked up. Well, they used to do it at Auto Club in Fontana, and since then, Auto Club Speedway has basically been tore down. So now they're going to actually do it at a hotel out there. And I've been talking to them back and forth about the event. And it sounds like Dodge is coming back out there with a whole bunch of stuff. They're going to, even though it's going to be very limited to who can be attend and, how many cars can come, simply for the fact that, about space availability. Dodge is going to be out there with, I guess they're going to do like a clinic. I don't know what the clinic's going to be. Like a couple years ago, they did a clinic where they did like paint. They had brought out these different paint colors. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Alex Fest paint colors. Let me see here. I don't want that. Here we go. Trying to see if I can find. Here we go. So this is from Dodge Garage, but I thought I had some stuff on here. But so, anyways, Springfest would bring like thousands of cars. Well, this year, like I said, it's gonna be different. But like a few years ago, they brought all these auto forums out there, and they showed off colors, and that people could go through and pick out their favorite ones. And they had, obviously, if you look here, Frostbite Blue, Cinnamon Stick, those colors actually made it into production. This one here is Garbage Can. I thought was pretty cool. This one is It's Not Green. But they had people, give feedback on things. They're going to be back out there this year. So the design team's going to be out there. It's going to be very interesting. They got a whole bunch of stuff going to happen. So if you're able to attend, go for it. Like here, there's Black Eye. Black Eye actually became Hellraisin. So yeah, they here's some more colors. I want to come on. I don't know why their website's so weird. So like here's Fraterno's Gold. That color actually made it into production. Wicked Witch, that would have been kind of a cool color. Root Beer would have been really cool. It's like a dark metallic, brown. And then My Boy Blue, which is almost like a baby blue. That would have been really cool too. So they are going to do something. I don't know if they're going to do this or whatnot, but they're going to do a whole bunch of stuff. So if you get a chance, go over to the the Alex Springfest website and register if you're going to be out in California. But here's a couple more colors. Which one is this? I'm trying to see here. Oh, that's Lemon Twist, I think. Is it? I can't even read it. Let's see here. Oh, it's Lemon Head. It's so yellow that the white lettering doesn't even make up on it. There's Shake and Bake, which is this really cool orange. Bloodshot, that would have been a really cool red. And then Michigan Salt, which is supposed to represent the salt that they put on the street here in Michigan. So it's kind of like an off-white. And then there's one more picture we'll look at real quick. So let's see here. And then Toe Tag, which like a body toe tag. This really weird color. And then there's Mustard Stain, Black Eye, which made it into production. And then I don't know which one this is. So, but anyways, yeah, they did all this kind of cool stuff, and then people would write down their favorite ones, and they picked from what people had liked, and they became high impact colors. So hopefully they'll be doing something like that again, or maybe showing off something. I mean, they got a lot of new products coming. There's the new Dodge Charger. I'm sure they're going to bring one of those out. So who knows? But I'm pretty sure like Mark Trossel and them are going to be coming out there and having a lot of fun. If we go to, hold on here. Let's see. I think it's Springfest. I want to say the new website. No, it's Powered by SRT. That's their new website. PoweredbySRT.com. Registration's already open. Like I said, they're going to have very select spots. And now I'm going to tell you something. If you have to own one of these vehicles in order to register it. So they're not allowing everybody. Okay. So it says our tradition continues. So if you have a Dodge Challenger, a Charger, Magnum, or Chrysler 300, they said the exception will be Dodge Durangos from all 2011 to present models. Okay. Then if you also own a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT, or basically an SRT or a Trackhawk, and they're allowing Ram TRXs. The rest of, if you own anything else, they're not allowing. So you can register here. You're going to have a kickoff party. It's got a hotel. They got a couple hotels that you can pick from that are right in the area. So it's going to be in Irvine, California. When's the actual dates? I can't even remember. Oh, come on. Oh, it's right on the top. Duh. March 22nd. So it's next month. So should be a lot of fun for people. If you really want to go, I mean, if you're out in that way, do it, because this is going to be like a kind of like a throwback to how these events originally were. Very small and kind of formal. They're going to have a pull block party and all that stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to have it like set up in a parking garage. And then maybe next year it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger, but this is going to be kind of that one-off event. So, let's see here. I don't understand why they never put a Hurricane inline 6 in the Grand Cherokee. Okay, so Grant, here's the thing. This is why they didn't do the Hurricane. I talked to an engineer that was working on the WL program. It's not the same dimensions as the Hemi. The inline 6 is a lot longer. A lot longer. It's narrower, a lot longer. The problem is the Grand Cherokee would have had to have a completely different engine cradle. It would have cost a lot more money to redevelop it because it was never engineered to have the Hurricane engine. So they, with the 2026 model coming up that we should be hearing more about very, very soon, they basically they're just going to put the new 2-liter turbo in it. Now, when I say new 2-liter turbo, it's going to be the GME T6 or T4 Evo motor. The standard output is what I heard, but that's just it. I mean, you're only going to get a four-cylinder no matter what. So, luckily, the Durango's staying around, and you can get a Hemi in that. But the Grand Cherokee will not get a Hurricane engine. It's just, it costs too much to redevelop the whole front end of the vehicle. So, any update on the Hurricane 4 Evo? Nothing really to talk about. We do know. How can I say this? From what I've heard, I don't really know if I want to talk about it on here, just because I'm thinking about what will go on Mopar Insiders. Not really. I mean, there isn't a whole lot of new news. We do know that it's going to be the standard output model that's going to go into the Grand Cherokee. And people, even though people might be ticked that's going to 4-cylinder power, supposedly it's going to have about the same horsepower as like the Explorer ST. So it should be an improvement, but considering what the Pentastar makes, should be on par. I mean, I doubt they would put something in it that wouldn't tow as much in that. So, I don't know. I don't think we're going to see a huge change in numbers, but yeah, I don't want to say too much about it, just because I don't want to give things away. But no, there's no huge new information on it that I can tell you. I mean, I know a few things about the powertrain from what I've been told. Like, it will still have an 8-speed automatic transmission and all that, but we just know that it's going to have the standard output one. There is going to be a high output version of that engine, but yeah, we'll see it later. Did you say that the only engine in the new Grand Cherokee will be a 4-cylinder? Yes. Yes, Steven. So if you really want a Pentastar V6, yes, you have to buy a Grand Cherokee for 2025. 2026, the Grand Cherokee will get an update. It will get a minor facelift, and it will get a very minor interior update, which consists of a new infotainment system screen, some physical buttons. I can show you real quick. We posted a ton of stuff about it on Mopar Insiders. Hold on here. I'm sorry. I have not been feeling good. And I'm kind of like in that state where I'm like, my brain is just burnt out. Hold on here. So I think I'm going to go in a few minutes and crash out. So there's been multiple spy photos and stuff we've posted on Mopar Insiders. This is a Summit model, and again, it's going to get a different front bumper and stuff. It's not going to look drastically different. Obviously, the wheels are carryover and all that stuff. You can see the Grand Cherokee badging still on the side. Inside, it's going to get some, like, basically, you see that it's got haptic buttons now on the actual Uconnect system, just like the Wagoneer. So it's going to have the same kind of stereo that the Wagoneer has. If you look at the top of the dash, it's got new buttons up here. Other than that, not a whole lot is changing, except for the powertrain. The powertrain is going to be a huge change. So we're also seeing that it's going to get a different, more sensors and stuff. Adaptive cruise control standard. This one's the plug-in one. The plug-in model will not get the Evo engine. The plug-in one should, for as far as I know, should retain the same powertrain that it has now. Only the non-4xe models will have the Evo engine. So like this one here, this is a Wagoneer, Jesus. The Grand Cherokee L Limited. This one will have the Evo engine in it. So they camouflage the whole front end on this thing, but really it's the front bumper design that's changed just a little bit. And then again, here's the interior, same picture. But if we look down here, yeah, the exhaust kind of like hides up into the rear fascia. So we're hearing around 300 horsepower with the 4-cylinder. So again, power number should be very similar to what the Pentastar is. So I don't know. But yes, so they're going to be standard 4-cylinder models for 2026. Let's see here. I think that will kill off the Grand Cherokee. We'll see. I mean, the Grand Cherokee still sells pretty well, but they're really refocusing the Grand Cherokee like basically for North America. They're not going to sell it anymore in Europe. We're hearing that it's going to be actually kind of pushed back in several markets. So we'll see. So they're basically replacing the Hemi with the current 4xe hybrid. Kinda. I mean, they're two different animals. But, yeah, I mean, the only problem with the Hemi, if you compare the Hemi to the 4xe, you're not getting anywhere near the towing numbers that the Hemi was possible with. So, yeah, if you're looking to tow, the best thing to do is just go over to a Durango. The Durango with the 5.7, that thing still, if you get the tow and go package, you can tow 8,700 pounds. And honestly, I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people complain that the Durango is old. The Durango and the Grand Cherokee are built on the same exact line. They're different platforms. Obviously, the Durango platform's been around for a long time. The WL is the Giorgio platform. It's the same kind of underpinnings that the Stelvio and Giulia have and all that. But if you look at the dimensions of like this Grand Cherokee L and the Durango, they're almost identical. So if you're looking at like, oh, I need a 3-row SUV and I want to tow, the Durango just makes more sense. I mean, it's more affordable. It's to me, it's always been more sporty. I mean, my personal daily driver is a 2021 Dodge Durango RT. I got a Destroyer gray one, and I mean, I love the thing. It's got a radar red interior. It doesn't have the tow and go package. That's the only thing it doesn't have, but it's fully loaded, and I mean, it's got plenty of power. Plenty of power. It's not that bad on fuel. If you're driving on the highway, I get about 21, 22. Driving in the city kind of sucks. I mean, I get about 14. But right now I have, because we live in Michigan and our winters suck, I put all-terrain tires on it. I put massive, really aggressive Cooper Discovery tires on it. Like, really aggressive tires on it. And it looks actually really good. The stance of it looks really, really good. But, yeah, I love my Hemi. I don't know why they got rid of it. I know that the whole push against the 5.7, was Carlos Tavares' whole thing. Yeah, it's coming back for certain models, but it is not coming back. It's coming back for the Durango RT for one last year. Obviously, next year 2026 is the last year for the current generation Durango. So we will be getting a new Durango in 2027, but the Grand Cherokee will be going on until 2028 in its current form. Yeah, that's true, Grant, but I'm going to tell you something. A lot of people always complain that, oh yeah, everything's old Mercedes stuff. I laugh because like people complain that, oh, the 2023 Dodge Charger is basically a 1990s E-Class. If you took that E-Class platform and looked at it compared to a 2023 Dodge Charger, everything has changed. It might be this based on the same architecture, but they have completely revamped that platform. And I'm going to be honest with you, as a Durango owner, that Durango, they've had so much time to tune that thing in. I love the ride on my Durango. I live in Michigan. We have really crappy roads. I love everything about it. I think it drives really good. There's not much to say about it. I mean, I feel that Durango, I had a 20, before I had the 2021, I had a 2018 Durango GT as my daily driver. And there's massive changes in the suspension tuning compared to my GT. That was a 2028, and now the one I got is a 2021. So, I mean, they're constantly retuning it. It's nothing like that Mercedes M-Class. Nothing like it. So, I mean, everybody can complain about it being an old chassis, but I'll tell you what, the FCA team, or Stellantis, whoever you want to call her, Chrysler Group, they do a really good job at fine-tuning stuff over the years. If you drove now keep in mind, I worked at a Chrysler dealer in 2006. And actually, yeah, it would be late 2006. I worked there for a few months. I thought I would have a great career selling cars. I freaking hated it. I absolutely hated it. It made me really hate cars. I was right there at the time where they were really, like, Mercedes had really started like sucking the money out of Chrysler. We were seeing some of the best products from the Daimler Chrysler merger, and then we were seeing some of the worst products because we had just gotten the Compass and the Patriot, and then we had just got the Jeep Wrangler Unlimited. I remember I was like one of the first people to they dropped one off at our dealership. I was working for a dealership in Richmond, Michigan, and we were the second biggest dealer by volume in the country. And they had dropped off one of the very first Jeep Wranglers, the 4-door ones, basically the JK Unlimiteds, and I drove it to a local gas station to fill it up, and everybody thought it was a Hummer. They thought it was one of the new Hummers. I'm like, no, it's a Jeep. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah. They're like, no, that's a 4-door. I'm like, no, it's a Jeep. But anyways, yeah, they just had a terrible lineup of products. And, I mean, they had products for everything. It was amazing how much crap we had on the lot. But at the time, I mean, if you looked at the Charger and that, like, I spent a lot of time driving the Chargers at the time because at the time I thought those were so cool. You know, rear wheel drive and all that. In 2011, those cars were completely revamped. The whole, everything. The suspension and everything was completely changed. They started going to negative camber, you know, for the front wheels. Even the Challenger. The Challenger got a huge revamp in 2011 to the point where it got a whole new body code. So it went from being an LC to an LA car. You know, they've completely revamped those cars multiple times. So when people say, oh, it's an E-Class, no, it's not an E-Class. Not in my opinion. I mean, I've driven enough stuff where, you know, I don't think any of the current cars feel anything like those cars did when they came out. Not even close. Sorry. I hate when people say that. It drives me nuts. So, but yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how the Jeep does this with their whole, you know, 4-cylinder strategy. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what to tell you guys. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of 4-cylinder engines. I haven't been. My wife's got a Jeep Renegade with the 1.3 liter turbo 4. And that's a pretty solid engine. I mean, but it's also in a very small subcompact SUV. So it'll be very interesting. I just know that if it was me, I mean, I like the Jeep lineup, but the Durango to me has always been a better package. I do like the Grand Cherokee L. I think it's a really nice vehicle, but if you really want that Hemi power in that, step into a Durango. You're not missing out on much like of a difference. You get this, basically everybody says, oh, well, this has got the newer Uconnect system. Well, if you look at this one, yeah, it's got an updated Uconnect system, but the Durango got the same, it has the exact same screen for 2025 as the Grand Cherokee. You just get the older, like, well, you get the little bit older body style, but big whoop, the styling is a little older. But tuning-wise and that, I never had a problem with my Durango. So I think it'll be kind of good in a way because it'll keep the Durango kind of, you know, differentiate the two. Because I was really worried that the Grand Cherokee L would probably cannibalize the Durango, but it hasn't. So it just goes to show that Jeep, you know, they're way too overpriced. So, all right. Any more questions? Because I feel like I might be getting off of here. Let's see here. I thought I had another. I think I had another thing. I did shoot some pictures of a Grand Cherokee, 2026 Grand Cherokee the other day. I'll post those this week too. It was actually of a self-driving Grand Cherokee. So they just announced their Stella autopilot self-driving, basically their self-driving software. And I was literally on my way up to see my parents on the highway, and I passed a 2026 Grand Cherokee all decked out with huge level 4, I guess it's level 4 autonomous capabilities. There was a guy sitting in there, but it was driving itself. So it wasn't like the hands-free option. So I'll probably post those this week. But anyways, I think I'm going to be getting off. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm going to try to post some videos tomorrow. And I got to work on the RHO video. I want to get that done probably on Sunday. I have the final video done. That will probably come out on Tuesday. So, yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on. And, again, I'm like in that process where I just can't freaking think. I'm just burnt out. So, all right, guys. Have a good night. And thanks for joining me. And we'll see. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's going to be a lot of stuff, a lot of changes coming up with this company, man. It sounded like, again, their town hall. Everybody's like positive about it. The tariffs are going to be kind of pushed back for right now. Sounds like they might be looking at expanding American production. I don't know. There's a lot of positive things going on. I mean, I think a lot of people have been so negative over the last few years just because of what Tavares has done that I think the next probably 15 to 16 months will be a huge game changer for Stellantis. That right now they're dealing with, one is they got to get the pricing down. Two is they got to build product that people like. So we'll see. I just think that there's a lot of possibility. I think we're going to see. I think the one thing that Tavares kind of showed them was, you can have a CEO that makes things look good on paper, but when it comes down to alienating your customer base and making it so that you build products that nobody wants and charging a premium price for those products that no one will buy them. So I think right now that now that they're building trust with their dealerships and stuff, I think that the whole kind of, I don't know, the whole mantra for the company is kind of changing. And I really think that in the next few months, we're going to start seeing a lot of changes going forward. Again, not just for production, not just for product, but like just people in general. Again, I got emails today from people sending me things that, Stellantis is hiring people again. They just updated their website for North America, and they have a ton of new jobs. There's somebody in the design studio, Ryan Nagodi, posted that they're hiring for the design studio again. So, I mean, it's completely different than what we've seen in the past, like 2 to 3 years. All these, cost cutting and these moves to like just decimate the company. So, I mean, they're spending money left and right. And what I'm hearing is they're going to be spending a lot more money in order to make a lot more money. So hopefully we'll see things. And I agree, Grant. I said Chrysler needs product like yesterday. I talked to Frank Rhodes Jr. today, and he was telling me, he called me to ask me about that whole Chrysler Maserati BYD thing, and I was like, no, it's not going to happen. And he was telling me he pulled into, he pulled into a gas station or something, and people didn't know what his car was. It was a Chrysler. Obviously they didn't know who he was. But, I mean, he's like, dude, they need to put, like, Chrysler on the back of these cars. They need new product. No one knows what Chrysler even sells anymore other than minivans. And I agree. But, Grant, to be honest with you, I honestly don't think that, I think Chrysler's going to come through some really big changes in the next few months. I don't know if we're waiting to hear from a new CEO or a new company CEO. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen to Chris Fuel. I really don't. She hasn't done nothing for the brand. Again, I've met her in person. She's a very nice lady, but she doesn't seem like she knows the brand at all. If you go on it and watch the video from MSNBC when they did the interview with Frank and her, she was talking about how the Pacifica is a vehicle for adventure lifestyles. Okay, that's a Jeep. Yes, if you're going to go mountain biking, you can throw your bicycles in the back of a van or whatever. Yeah, that's fine. It's a vehicle for empty nesters, or brand for empty nesters. Okay, so you're saying your brand's old. It's for adventure lifestyle people. I don't think she knows what Chrysler's about. Chrysler's always been the blue-collar luxury brand. And they need to go back to that. If it was me, and I've been saying this quite a bit, If it was me and they're restructuring the company right now, I would ultimately like to see Dodge and Ram get back together. I think having them as one brand, you know, everybody still calls it a Dodge Ram. I'm sorry. They can keep the Ram branding on all their trucks. Who cares? But I would like to see Dodge and Ram go back to being a mainstream brand. I don't need to see Dodge as a performance brand. They can have their SRTs and all that stuff, but they need to have a mainstream brand where they can all rely on each other and make a full portfolio to compete against Ford and Chevrolet. It's what they got to do. There's so many holes and gaps in their freaking lineup. It makes no sense. I would like to see them announce that they're not going to invest in Alfa Romeo or Fiat for North America anymore. I know a lot of dealerships, there's like 112 dealerships left of Alfa Romeo and Fiat dealers that have separate studios. Unfortunately, I mean, the sales aren't there. Alfa Romeo sold 8,500 vehicles last year. What did freaking Fiat sell? I can't even remember. Like 3,000 vehicles, if that. So, I mean, those aren't sales numbers. I'm sorry. Those aren't, for what you're spending in marketing for those dead brands. I'm sorry. The Italian market, like the Italian brands, just don't cut it here. Now, if they want to bring those vehicles back in here, like, why can't there be a D segment rear-wheel drive based sedan like the Giulia, rebadged as a Dodge, but do it right. Don't just do like what they did for the Hornet. Slap a freaking Dodge grill on it and say, oh, it's a Dodge. Don't do it that way. You know, build something that looks like a Giulia, you know, or not looks like a Giulia, but drives like a Giulia, but put a Dodge body on it. They could do that, and they would sell a ton of them here. People don't want those Italian brands. I'm sorry. It's just not how it works. But they really need to take and refocus on what made the brand successful. And I think it's got over the years, it's gotten more and more lost in translation. Dodge needs to go back to being a mainstream brand with a solid lineup. Chrysler needs to go back to being a blue-collar luxury brand. And Jeep needs to continue building affordable. They're not a premium brand. I know they've gotten crazy with this whole premium adventure brand thing. I mean, not everybody can afford the Jeep lifestyle anymore. I'm sorry. Back when I was in middle school, almost everybody drove Jeeps because, hey, everybody had Grand Cherokees and stuff that were hand-me-down from their parents. Nowadays, you're looking at like these Grand Cherokees here, that 4xe Summit. That's close to being an $80,000 SUV. I'm sorry. No one can afford that kind of stuff. There's a market for it, but not everybody can afford it. And I think Jeep has kind of bypassed the affordable 4x4 kind of deal. So, I mean, I would love to see the two brands merge. I would love to see Chrysler become that blue-collar luxury brand. There's a lot of potential with Chrysler. They have a rich history. They could do it. There's not much investment they would have to do to make a really nice portfolio and really push the brands that they have already established in the marketplace. So we'll see. I don't know. I hopefully we'll hear more whenever this new CEO gets announced. Elkin was saying, I was on the financial call last week, and John Elkin was saying that they have a handful of people left. There's a couple that are internally, and there's a few that are external. And he basically said that they really need to they're looking for somebody that can understand both the American market and the European market, but they are looking for somebody that understands all of the brands. And honestly, the company has too many brands. Some are going to have to die. And I'm sorry. The problem that they have right now in North America is you have brands like Alfa Romeo that can't even sell 10,000 units. And you're spending more money on marketing of these brands that aren't doing anything. And unfortunately for like Chrysler, they spend a couple $1 million on marketing for Chrysler every year. Okay? They're minivans. Big whoop. They didn't spend a damn dime on the 300 since 2018. And the 300 actually still sold halfway decent, considering, in a market that was dead because, sedans were not popular anymore. Considering it was a big sedan, rear-wheel drive, no marketing at all. I mean, you look at the Charger and Challenger, they had tons of marketing. Dodge throws a ton of marketing at those cars. Chrysler had nothing at the 300, and it still sold halfway decent compared to those cars. So there's just a lot of potential with all the brands if they refocused them. Yeah, I would love to see them bring, like, the Plymouth brand back compared to a Fiat. The problem is, if you're going to launch another brand, they don't need that right now. The freaking automaker has way too many brands. They need to eliminate, like, Alfa Romeo sales have been so bad that Jeep Avenger, right? That little compact Jeep that's built in Poland has been such a big seller for Jeep in Europe that its European sales have outsold the Alfa Romeo brand globally, just for Europe. So Alfa Romeo, they keep announcing, like, hey, we're going to build this. They're talking about, we're going to build a GTV, and we're going to build a new Montreal, and all this stuff. They keep investing in the brands that are not doing good. Maserati, not doing good. Sorry. I mean, either sell the brands, sell the ones that aren't doing good, and, do something with them. Who knows? But Alfa Romeo, I mean, I'm sorry. It's not a good selling brand. And the problem is they're just too damn expensive for what they are. I mean, that's the problem with Dodge. Dodge has gotten to be this premium brand, and it's not. Dodge is a blue-collar brand. And I really think if they put the two together and refocused the Chrysler brand as a blue-collar luxury brand, I think they would do a lot better. A lot better. I just don't understand why they aren't focused on it. So, we'll see. But anyways, I'm going to go get some hot coffee or something to help my throat. And I will see you guys in the next video. Again, stay tuned. There's going to be some really cool videos coming out. I'm going to try to edit some of that RHO video and get that out this weekend. And then my closing RHO video. And then I'm going to be doing some more stuff about some news things that are coming out. So I will see you guys later. Bye.